Hey, Helena, how are you?
I hope you know who this is. This is JJ's Adventures.
In person. Finally. Oh my gosh.
That little nail here.
Oh, did it get caught on your
It
pants?
caught on my pants. I don't think I told her.
Good. Yeah, that would not be fun.
She says, hi, nice to meet you. They're from what state again?
Ohio?
Oh, yeah. Why do I keep forgetting that? It was just in Ohio not long ago. What was that called? There's a...
Look at this temperature.
There is a park there over in the Newark area. Something, Black Hand Board.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been there? Supposedly there's a tunnel where somebody could guide or something.
Yeah.
My elementary, middle school cousin, we walked a mile looking for this thing, and it's a couple of miles hike on a hot day. We
Just what you
also
wanted to do.
saw that basket building.
Oh, they used to be Longa Burger?
It sounds about right. And we went to my favorite park, Girls All Burrito. Love that place. Chinese garden. We take the stairs every day. How much you want to bet Tommy went out for a cigarette?
I'm just about ready to. This thing is just unfreaking-believable. It's been up to 2.4. Now see it's holding at 0.2. Now it's back up.
Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. We're going to do our first Pack Box session. I'm going to introduce somebody to you that I'm going to let her talk to you for a moment. There she is. So everybody right here, this is Lorna Reynolds. Hi. She was the psychic medium and hypnotherapist person that was here with us today. She came all the way from New York. She's an old friend of mine to be here with us, so I really appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Tell them a little bit about what you picked up last night and how you got quite a few things right before we did some research.
Oh, okay. Last night when we went upstairs, it was actually, I'm going to start because it actually started downstairs. And I had this old grumpy man, and as I was walking down past the bar, I said, I don't know who this old grumpy man is. And then all of a sudden, I smelled like a whiskey cherry blend tobacco from the pipe. And I said, so he followed us upstairs and everything. And I'm sitting up there, and it's like, oh my gosh. I said, what the heck's going on here? Because it's like the man was telling me that there was not enough Indians, everybody was chiefs. So there was always a lot of friction. And it just wasn't connected to this building, it was actually connected to this town. And I was like, what's going on here? Because this is connected to the town, where nobody could agree. So there was like a lot of controversy, even all the way back to the first settlers. So, and I had said to, and I was going, what's up with the Masonic? And I had to laugh because we did have some issues
Yep.
with the whole Masonic thing. So we were kind of laughing about that. And so I went outside and I actually had a friend of mine pull up the history because I said, I don't understand. I said, there was a lot of misery here in this town when this town was settled. And it never got a break. So even when like the railroad came through, everybody was so excited, thinking that the railroad was going to bring money into Paw Paw, but it only lined a couple of pockets, specifics in this town. And I thought, oh. And then they talked about the boats, the big steamboats coming down through, the big paddle boats. Paw Paw was like so excited. Oh my gosh, we're going to make money off of this. Well, unfortunately, it didn't happen, and only a few pockets were lined. The winters were miserable. There was a lot of deaths. The farmers that were plowing the field, you guys have a lot of Native American in this that was in this area. So when they were plowing up the fields, they were plowing their skulls. So, and with that, even back then with those settlers, it wasn't as much as, oh my God, my property's going to be haunted. It was, oh my God, we're going to be cursed. So just manifesting, just knowing, and then putting it out there and talking amongst each other in silence, it really gave this town a very, very hard time. But what's amazing, what I found out today, in working with a lot of people and talking to a lot of people here, everybody is so rooted here. You guys have got like tree roots. you're not going anywhere. So I find that really, really interesting. Dan, you have anything to add to that? Or?
No, you're 100%.
So that's what I got. But I really, really enjoyed everybody here. I've been here since Dan kicked the doors open this morning and all day, and I've done several readings, and it's totally fascinating on how your family history goes here. So I have to commend all of you for hanging in. I think it's absolutely fantastic. You know, and one day will this ever prosper? It's always going to be a bumpy road. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. It's always going to be a bumpy road, but it's okay. It's okay. You guys will do fine because it's so close knit as far as your families and stuff go. And I have to admire that. Okay? All right, that's great. So I'm going to give it back to Dan.
Here we go. Who here is from Hillsdale, Michigan? Raise your hands. Anybody?
Us.
Okay. So, just a quick story before we start. So, I was contacted a couple years ago by a reporter in Hillsdale who somebody gave him my name and said, I guess you're the guy to talk to about the UFO incident that happened here. And I was not the guy to talk to about the UFO incident. I mentioned it one time in an article, and it took off from there, so you know what I'm talking about.
We've only lived there for years, so.
Yeah, so you guys had, you know.
But we've heard of it, yes.
Yeah, so the guy wished he'd never said anything about it, and some college girls at Hillsdale also witnessed the same thing. This is at the time when Project Blue Book was running around lying to people about UFOs, and the doctor that was involved, I'm not going to mention his name, but he later admitted that he told people here it was swamp gas. This is after people washed land, so.
Oh,
I did, all I could tell the guy in the article is like my team was going to go investigate and look. I don't know what we were going to investigate because this was years ago. But I found it rather interesting, so I thought I didn't share that with you earlier. I thought I'd bring it up.
so is that like down the waterways? Down?
There was a swamp involved in a guy's farm, and the Hillsdale girls in their dorm, when it had left him and moved along and then disappeared in the eastern sky, it went past them over there at the university. They witnessed it also. And it was low to the ground, very low to the ground, and left a radiation trail. How weird. All right, we're going to start our other session down here. I can imagine people came into church in this area here. It obviously looked probably different back then than it does now. I can imagine this is probably offices, and you know, all this was divided up into rooms. It could have been where the pastor lived. This could have been their home down here. You would probably feel that and know that more than me. But you know, weird. They would go upstairs for their congregation and have their services. Is it going off? Very cool. All right, so we're already getting some activity at their table. Let's light this up, see what happens. Hopefully we'll light it up. Uh-oh. There we go. Let's get scared. Hello? We can hear you down here better. Do you remember my name? I said it upstairs. What's my name? Who am I talking to? What's my name? You know my name. You know who this lady is? Who's that lady? You know her name? How about back here? Oh, there's somebody back here? How many people are sitting at this table? Hi. How many people do you see at the table? How many? There's more. Hey, there's not 10. And they could be seeing people. People that are alive. How many are sitting at the table? All right. How many of you are here with us? How many are here with us tonight? You know why we're here? Why are we here? Do you know why we're here? Loud and clear. Yes? Tell these people, why are we here? We're dead. Are you a ghost? You know what a ghost is? What's a ghost? Anybody hear that? Anybody hear it? It's just weird. Okay. Try it up here. You got a green light up here. It's not so. There's a green light. Can you touch it? Come on up and touch it. Show everybody here that you're in the room with us. Hi. Yeah, we're looking for ghosts. How old are you? How old are you? You hear a child again? You're 8 years old? What's your name? What's your name? Gus? Okay, I was trying to talk to the little girl. What's your name? You can talk to us. Nobody here is going to hurt you, I promise. I hear you, sweetheart. I can't make out what you're saying. Can you guys let the little girl speak to us? Let her come forward and talk to us. Are you stuck here? Are you stuck? Is this your happy place? Are you happy here? Yes? Do you play here? Here. So the new owner has small children. Do you play with the children? Do you play with the children? Yes. Tell her to yes. Yeah? Sure. Okay. Do we scare you? We're not here to hurt you, I promise. Did you live in Pawpaw? Did you live in Pawpaw? Are you buried here in town? Heaven? You think you're in heaven? What? Do you see angels? Anybody who hears me, do you see angels? Do you see demons? If you have any message for everybody here tonight, what would that be? What would you like to say to them, loud and clear? Are you happy that we're here to talk to you? A lot of people here that would like to hear your voice. We care about you. See this green light on the table? You can touch that. Walk up and touch that light for us. There's a red light down here too. Touch that. It's not going to hurt you. See the duck? Look at the little duck. Sit over here for a minute. I'm getting old. I gotta sit down. I'm gonna turn this off. So how many of you heard that little girl again? You hear that pretty clear? She seemed to talk to us. And obviously she's not unhappy. I don't think that they would be untruthful with us about something like that. Lorna's had more experience with it than me, but normally if I get a lot of happy responses, this is the place they like to be.
Yeah.
I don't think that they feel lost. Maybe she hangs out here and this is her thing. I did hear a man, your grumpy old man, when I asked about the green light, he said so. So, you know. Anybody feel anything while we're doing that? Any touching, anything like that? Sometimes the company's what we're doing. Yeah, feel odd feeling. Yeah, thank you. So, hey, Crystal?
Yeah.
Over there. You didn't have your SB7, right? Do you have any of the other EMF meters? If not, I've got one or two in my case if you want to bring them out. Bob, you still here? Okay. You don't have a version of this, right? The ghost box? I think this is the one you gave me. Yeah, not. So we'll ask some normal questions. I'm going to get out another meter. This is to show that we have several different versions of that. I'm going to use the one that consumer power is this. Do in your house and check the leaks.
messing with it. Yeah. It's messing with the fans. Yeah. Yeah, it's strange how that. Yeah. It definitely did a change. There's no doubt. All of us.
Yeah, like went down a pitch or two.
I'm gonna put these out here by you guys. We have different versions. This one is used by consumers. Some of the guys use them when they come in your house and they are checking for EMF leaks in your wiring. I don't know if you're aware of this. If you get online, the EPA still stands by this report. It's very old, which means that they don't like you living by power transfer stations and power lines. There's a reason, because you can get skin rashes if you're sensitive to EMF, and you will get tumors and all sorts of things. So the old cell phones, you know, people were having lawsuits because they were on their phone all the time. Now you don't get that. But that is still very true.
They drain the battery.
So when I've done investigations in private homes, we take this, we do base readings, and we tell people, get your stuff looked at and get it shielded. Did you have something?
Yeah, well, it's been, that fan has been like lowering its pitch and like it's slowing down and then goes, and then hers my meter is drained.
Weird.
Yeah.
But this was going off like crazy earlier before everybody came down here. I had numbers up in the twos.
That's the energy chain in the room, so maybe we'll try to correlate that to that and see what happens. So what they tell you is that you need to get your wiring checked. That's what we tell people. We've told investigation clients that stuff, and when they fix that, all the paranormal stuff goes away. Because if you're exposed to it long enough and you're sensitive to this stuff, how many people here have heard of the fear cage? So if you have a room that has a bunch of power boxes and electric devices in it, like your kitchen, there could be times when you're in your kitchen, you're feeling weirded out and things are happening, you're hearing voices. You'd be surprised when you unplug half the stuff in your kitchen, that goes away. So that's a fear cage. So we use this to determine some of that. I like this because it's super sensitive. Bob tells a story when we did a house on Clarence Street about some people being in there, and I had done a house which was very similar, where two guys had been in the basement at that house. I did another house that was like that, but it was two consumer guys, and they had experienced something weird in this house in Three Rivers, and they didn't come back because they used this, and some things were going wonky in there, and somebody saw somebody on some stairs.
See, there we go. There we go.
Thank you. I have to set them up. You might go ahead.
So that's why it wasn't registering it. Because the battery was drained.
So get your recorders ready. We're going to do like we did upstairs. We're going to ask for everybody to be as silent and quiet as you can.
That it drained the battery in this too. So I'm not.
We do not have an obelisk. I'll tell you why. I'm not a big fan of those because they're designed by people to put 165 word or more now, probably 200 and some odd word now in a computerized syntax, which is just going to randomly throw out words. I know there's some software and phones, as I said upstairs, that do the same thing. So you got to be aware of that when you're doing this, because you'll fall down the rabbit hole very easily and think you're having all sorts of contact and conversation. And I hate to disappoint you, but it won't happen. My guy Shane was here with us today, and Shane had built some incredible instruments. And Shane will tell you why those do those and why we should not be using them. I think if I have to put a colander on my head and use a scanner from a grocery store, like you've seen on one of the popular TV shows, that's when I knew the gig was up. And I had to start telling people to just please, if you shop for ghost stuff, shop wisely. Again, some of the phone things are out there as entertainment only. It's cool because they can have very random things that are in touch with what you're trying to do. But I myself am very skeptical, even though I'm a believer, and that to me is a little hard to buy. So we don't have one. We do use REM pods, which you can touch, and those will light up and go off. So we're going to start our PvP session. Hey Bob, you want to lead it? Yeah, feel free to come on over and lead that. This is Bob Penny, as you introduced him earlier. Bob's been doing this a while. Sometimes, you like to use some triggers if you're in a particular location that has a lot of history or might have been built in the 1800s or something from that era. When you ask questions, you may want to kind of cater to that era, because there's so many things, spirits that they may not know our lingo today, So, sometimes it's nice to just ask, like, who's the president? You may want to sometimes also bring up maybe conflicts of the time, like if it was a civil war. You want to maybe ask questions pertaining to that, or pertaining to the early part of the century. So that way you get more of a direct response. But I'll go ahead and open it up. So like Dan has been doing prior, we'll ask a question and we'll allow like 30 seconds, okay? So we'll start with something simple here. Hello, thank you for allowing us to be here. Can you please tell us what year is it? Who is the president? Is it okay that we're here in this room talking to you? You want to ask easy questions too that usually will give off like one-word answers. We have all these little lights here. You can come up to these lights and you can communicate with us, talk to us. Is this your place of worship? Are you an actor? Are you an actress? Do you perform here on stage? What's the name of your production? A lot of this area is rich in Native American history. Why? It's a fly. Fly. There are Native Americans here. Do you grow food here on this land? Is this where the community gathers? Were you married at this church? Trapped? Feel trapped by your marriage? another thing that we use sometimes is we use keywords, and we'll just randomly, we'll just say like a bunch of words and see if there's a reaction. So we'll say like death, murder, birth, church, Republican, Democrat, male, female, good, bad, love, hate, sex, marriage, video, anybody you want to ask any questions? Well, you guys want to ask a question, you want to raise your hand and just kind of call upon you guys can ask a question and allow 30 seconds. Everybody want to go first?
Are you making my stomach hurt? How many of you are here today?
Ask a question.
You like my dog?
We've got all these little lights here. You come up to the lights and interact with us, talk to us. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Were you oppressed or displaced?
Now, of course, the fan is on, guys, and that's a great generator of white noise. Earlier, you know, when Dan was using the talk box, a lot of times you don't hear things live, but the talk box generates like a white noise, so when you play it back, you'll hear things that you may not have heard live.
Did you have a wedding here? If this was your church, are you upset that it's no longer a church?
a lot of times we do spurts where we will ask a question, wait 30 seconds, maybe ask a couple questions, and then we'll listen to see if there's any replies. Or sometimes we'll just wait till the end of the investigation and go over our evidence. But if you guys have recordings running right now, definitely make sure you go through your audio with like a headset and try to listen to full responses. Because you know we're not talking after this question, there should be some silence. But I think out of all the evidence that we get, this is probably EVPs are the most amount of evidence that we get over video and all that.
No, I guess I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. Because we have so many people, as I told you, this is about as close as you're going to get to seeing what we do. Bumping the Knights here tonight, I told them I would mention that before we left. I left them out in the introductions upstairs. Wait, put your hands up. So check out their YouTube also. You got a little taste of what we do. So when we do like a house or like a place like this, we might have 3 or 4 of us in the building, and that's it. So a little bit like what you see on TV, but what they don't show you is that, yeah, they go back next day and they're doing all the review. It takes us sometimes weeks to get through all that stuff. Because there's, like tonight, you're on camera. Everybody's on camera. That camera's live.
That
camera's live. So we have all of you on film, and we're going to give that to the FBI. I don't know why. It's just something to do. But you know, we have to go out. We have to go over all the hours that those cameras have been set up at a location. Then a person's got to do some of the audio, and if you got 3 or 4 of us with voice recorders, or we put one in each room, we have to sit and go through all that stuff too. So it's not as quick and easy as you see on TV. So we would tell clients, you know, sometimes about give us a couple weeks to 3 weeks, and then we sit at home. And as Bob said, when you go to listen to some of your stuff on your phone, make sure you adjust volume and be careful with your headphones, because we learned even with digital recorders that when you bang them into things, you blow your eardrums out of your head rather easily. So just be cautious. If you have anything, you can find us on Southern Michigan Paranormals on Facebook. You can send us a message on there and tell us you got something from the event. Let us know what you got, and we'll listen to it. And if you did get a hit or you got some strange stuff in the background, we'll play it. We also do a podcast network. So if you go to www.unrestrictedparanormal.com, you might hear, if you got something and you send it to us, you might hear your stuff on our show. We go on Sunday nights on Unrestricted Radio. Stacy was here today in this corner. And we go out all over the world. Drew is the co-host on our show Wednesday nights. On Sunday night, it's a guy that's been working with Bob for quite a few years. That's Elmer, and we do the I Want to Believe show, which we try to keep that focused on UFOs. But I just, again, go to Unrestricted, like it sounds, unrestrictedparanormal.com. Look us up, and we'd love to have you guys as new listeners.